Namaste, everyone. Welcome to this video, part 3 of a Jyotish analysis of Prince Harry's chart. Before we begin, let us recite Om Gurave Nama 3 times. Om Gurave Nama. Om Gurave Nama. Om Gurave Nama. So welcome everybody. My name is Justin. I've been practicing Vedic astrology for 20 years, more recently with my teachers, Pandit Sanjay Rath and Sarbani Rath. I want to talk to you a bit more about Prince Harry's chart. This is part 3 of a series of videos I've created about his chart. In part 1, I have provided a general overview and showing some very powerful yogas in the chart. In part 2, I have discussed the affliction of Venus and the tremendous benefit of Venus in the chart. And in this video, I want to demonstrate how we can see Meghan Markle in Prince Harry's chart. And the way we do that is to look at Prince Harry's Navamsha chart. So I've switched the screen here so you can see both the D1 and D9 of Prince Harry's chart. The D1 charts are above. I have the North Indian as well as the South Indian chart. These are the same chart. Here is the North Indian D9 and the South Indian D9 chart. So whichever chart is suitable to you, you can look at. So to understand relationships and marriages, we have to study the Navamsha chart, the D9 chart. And when we do that, we can see the first marriage in the 7th house of the Navamsha chart. For example, here, Harry is Virgo rising in the D9 chart. So the 7th house is the first marriage. This is marriage 1. Now, if he were to have another marriage, say hypothetically he were to get divorced, then the second marriage would be 7th from the 8th. So here is the 7th house. The breakage of the marriage occurs in the 8th house. And then in order to understand the next marriage, it's 7th from the 8th. So this would be marriage number 2 in the 2nd house. And marriage number 3 similarly would be 7th from the 3rd. So this is the 3rd house, and 7th from the 3rd is the 9th. So not that that's happening. We see that he is happily married. And this is the first marriage. This is the first major relationship. He is not known to have a serious relationship before this, not that I know of. So therefore, I have to assume that Meghan Markle is represented in this house here, in the Navamsha chart, with Saturn and Rahu conjunct. Wow. So the way we look for it's not just compatibility. We are actually seeing the destiny of the marriage in looking at the 7th house of Navamsha for the first marriage in spouse 1's chart, and then when we move to spouse 2, so Meghan's chart, we should see a connection. There should be some Rahu Saturn prominence in her chart, either in D1 or D9. And there should also be possibly some Pisces connection. And the way we look at the connections is we look at the trines to the Lagna in D1 or D9. So, for example, here, Meghan is represented in Harry's chart in Pisces with Rahu and Saturn, but also connected to Cancer and also connected to Scorpio. These are the trines of Pisces, right? Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or Mina, Karka, and Vrishchika, the Sanskrit words for those signs. So this is what I'm looking for. I am assuming that when we look at Meghan Markle's chart, we will see some of these planets in these houses, because it, the fact that Prince Harry chose her, found her, he sought her out. He tells the story. He was scrolling through social media, looking at pictures, and came across her picture, and something happened. Something stirred in him. He just felt an attraction to an outsider. The outsiders to their relationship. Somebody may say, "Why her?" So many attractive women, eligible women. Why her? What was different about her? Well, as Jyotishis, we know that there is a deep karmic imprint that happens when we look for that happens, that drives us to seek out particular uh, um, planetary energies in other people. So if when, and we're going to look at Meghan's chart in a minute, if what this means is that if Meghan has this energy in her chart, then uh, then it fills something. It fills a need, a void in Harry's chart. There is a karmic imprint that it gets satisfied by the energy of that person, and it's unexplainable. That's an explanation for what love is. The idea of love at first sight. Um, some people experience that, some people don't. But from a Jyotish perspective, it may be that love at first sight can be explained because when somebody comes in contact with another person whose planetary energies are so matching to the karmic imprint that is laid out in the Navamsha chart, then you fall into that. You feel so comfortable in that relationship. And this is how we can also help match people. So here is Meghan's chart. And so uh, um, this is Meghan's D9 chart. So actually, I need to look at Meghan's D1 chart. So let me get that. So here is the chart of Meghan Markle, D1 and D9. So this is D1 up here, right? Same. This is D1, and this is the D9. So to refresh your memory, in Harry's D9, he had Rahu and Saturn, right? Rahu and Saturn in Pisces. And interestingly, that Meghan Markle has Rahu in trines to to uh, to Pisces. And not only that, but if you look back here at Harry's chart, there's also Mercury in Cancer. So Rahu and Mercury are uh, already there. And Saturn, okay, Saturn is not there. We don't see Saturn in Meghan Markle's chart. This is the chart of Meghan Markle. We don't see Saturn in the trines, but what we do see is Saturn conjunct the Lagnesh. So Meghan Markle being a Cancer Lagna, we see that Saturn is conjunct the Lagnesh, so there is a very close association of Saturn. So actually all the planets in Harry's, I'm going back to Harry's chart, all the planets that are associated with the 7th house of the Navamsha, the 7th house plus the 7th house trines, right? um, are Saturn, Rahu, and Mercury, and all of them map to Meghan Markle's chart. Rahu and Mercury are mapped onto Lagnesh, and Saturn is conjunct the Lagnesha. So, it's very easy to see how that compatibility is there. Now, if we look at Meghan Markle's Navamsha, we should expect a similar compatibility. Although remember, Harry sought her out. Harry saw her picture and felt something. And then she met him and also felt very comfortable. So, does she also have that strength, that strong attraction? Now, one thing I don't know is how many serious relationships Meghan Markle had before Harry. I know that she was married once before, so it's possible that Harry is her second marriage. But if somebody, even if they're not legally married, if they are cohabitating in a serious way, where you have a serious, commitment, love and commitment, beyond 12 months, say you're dating for 12 months and it's serious, maybe you're engaged or maybe you're cohabitating. It's not just a light relationship, a fling, and so on. This is a serious relationship that counts as a marriage in the Navamsha um, karmic imprint uh, scheme that we're talking about here. So I'm going to assume that Harry is Meghan's second marriage. We know that those will be the second legal marriage, but I'm going to assume it's the second marriage in total. So if that's the case, like I said, the first marriage is the 7th from the Lagnesh, the Lagna in the D9 chart. And uh, this is Capricorn. Then the second um, house is the second marriage. Why? Because the 8th house breaks the first marriage, and then to find the second marriage spouse, you do 7th from the 8th. So 7th from the 8th is the second house. This is the second house. So the second house has um, these trines, right? This is Leo, okay? So Leo is in trines to Sagittarius, right? And Aries, okay? So if have you memorized Harry's chart? Uh, you will know that Harry has Jupiter in Sagittarius and the moon in Aries. So right away, there is a very striking, um, sorry, yeah, there is a very striking connection. And the sun is in Leo. So the sun is also there. And where is Saturn? Do you remember where Saturn is in Harry's chart? Saturn is in Libra. So Saturn is, I don't see the Saturn, but I see the moon, the Jupiter, and the sun. Okay, let me just revisit this again in case you've missed this. We want to find the connection. Now remember that because Meghan Markle was married once, we're not looking at the 7th from the Navamsha Lagna. We are looking at the second house. This is the second house of the Navamsha is the second marriage. So so then Leo is the second marriage, right? And so if Leo is the second marriage, we're looking for planets in the trines to Leo as indicating Harry. So Harry should be seen from Leo, from Sagittarius, and from Aries. Okay, so remember that Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. I'm moving back to Harry's chart, and I'm looking at Harry's D1 chart now. Okay, so if I go from Meghan's D9 to Harry's D1, we have Moon, in Aries. That's the same. We have um, Jupiter in Aries, which is trines to the Lagnesh, and we have Leo. So just the fact that Leo is the house of the second marriage of Meghan Markle, and it's trines to Sagittarius, that alone creates a huge amount of resonance. And then on top of that, the sun is one of these planets. The sun, Jupiter, and the moon are all compatible. Saturn is not there. Saturn is in Libra, and Mercury. Mercury is also not there. Uh, Mercury is Mercury is outside of that, but there's such a strong connection in both charts. Such an incredibly strong connection that can be seen um, with these planetary energies. So remember that when you are looking for compatibility between spouses, that compatibility can be found by looking at the Navamsha chart and calculating based on the marriage order which house represents that marital spouse, and then seeing the planetary energies that match the D9, the house in the D9 of one of the spouse with the planets in D1 or D9 of the other spouse. There's no question. There's no question they were meant to be together. And it explains why they just fell into this very comfortable arrangement. Right on their very first date, they had just fallen into each other's arms, and it was like, they had known each other for a long time. They were so comfortable together. And this is why. So that's what I want to show you. And in my next video, I'm going to talk more about Meghan Markle's chart and point out some interesting yogas in her chart. Namaste.